Madam Speaker. I rise today to correct an injustice and to urge passage of this resolution that will put the United States House back on the side of the people and protecting their health care. For far too long, seeking to fulfill empty partisan promises at the expense of the American people, politicians in Congress have sought to tear apart the Affordable Care Act and its protections for people with pre-existing conditions. That ends today. When the American people chose this new Congress, they said enough with the sabotage and the kowtowing to special interests seeking to divide us. Too many times, this very body has voted against the American people to repeal the Affordable Care Act and with it, the protections for people with pre-existing conditions. Now, a federal court has put at risk those same protections. That brings me to the story of Natalie. As I traveled around my district, which I am now truly honored to represent, I met Natalie. She told me her story. She was a lawyer with young children, Hugo and Mia, and was married to a law professor at Southern Methodist University. I met with her on the same day that the House had voted to repeal the Affordable Care Act. I learned that Natalie had stage 4 cancer, and that she had come to my event from her chemotherapy treatment. She explained to me that her goal was to fight her cancer as long as possible so that her children would know her. Natalie came to my event that day because she was worried about future moms like her who would lose their care if the Affordable Care Act was repealed. Natalie was worried about a return to the bad old days with lifetime caps and discrimination against people with pre-existing conditions. She knew that because of her treatment, she would have blown through any lifetime cap in a matter of weeks. Stories like Natalie's are all too common across America. Tomorrow will be 1 year to the day since we lost Natalie, and she is still an inspiration to me and to many other North Texans and Americans across the country. You see, Madam Speaker, Natalie spent her final days while she was in pain, while she was saying her goodbyes, emailing and posting on social media and talking to her community about the need to protect the Affordable Care Act so that other moms could get the care that they need. That's who we are as North Texans, and that's who we are as Americans. We believe in something larger than ourselves. We believe in protecting 130 million Americans and more than 320,000 people in my district in North Texas that have a pre-existing condition. Now, let me be clear. The Affordable Care Act is not perfect, and this resolution does not solve all the health care problems facing our country. But as one of our first acts, I hope that this measure tells the American people that we are on their side. I know I speak for many of my colleagues when I say that this Congress will not stop working for the American people. We will not relent to the special interests and the forces of cynicism. The American people now, more than ever, need us to work together to address the rising cost of health care. Americans like Natalie and her family deserve no less. It is truly an honor to address this body for the first time, and it's my first act to lead this resolution to defend the Affordable Care Act. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I yield back the remainder of my time.
The gentlelady reserves. The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to yield 3 minutes to my very good friend, the distinguished gentleman from California, former chairman of the